Hello one and all, and welcome to Seen Through Glass. Welcome back to Canada. Welcome to quite a ridiculous lineup of cars. I don't really know where to start with this lot because there is so much that I want to look at and want to ogle over, but there is one car in particular today from this lineup that we're going to be focusing on. And I think we're going to be surprising a lot of you. I mean, I assume most of you have guessed it by the title, but a lot of my traditional viewers will know that I don't do a lot of content on this kind of car. But anyway, before we really focus on it, let me just talk you through this lineup of metal lying behind me. Ferrari 16M in yellow, absolutely stunning, almost all black Speciale parked up next to it. This has to be one of the earliest pista spiders that I've seen in the world. What about a Rosso Dino F12 TDF? M4 GTS, a sort of relatively rare variant of the latest generation M4 and pretty rare in Canada. Next to it, an M235i BMW race car. This was a factory race car based on the BMW 235i. This one all liveried up. Yes, this is the car we're focusing on today, so we'll be back to it. But right next to it we have another GTR. This is an R33, and you may have noticed it's a sedan, or for my European viewers, a saloon car. We're going to find out more about these two shortly when we pull this one out, so I'll come back to this. Next to it, a very stunning 991.2 GT3, and I have to say, I love, can you see this underneath? The daytime running lights have been sort of covered in a yellow sort of vinyl, which actually looks awesome when these cars are on the road. And I say these cars because, yes, just next to that, an incredible GT2 RS in yellow. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are focusing on one car in particular today, and yes, it is this.
So this is a 2001 V-Spec 2. It didn't look like this before, but then, you know, I went shopping here and there, picked up some goodies, and slapped on the Z-Tune kit. So it looks much beefier, much more newer, let's say, performance-wise too. And
they didn't sell this in Canada or in the US. This was a Japan-only car?
Yes, yeah. This car didn't come to anywhere except, honestly, right-hand drive countries. So Singapore got a few, New Zealand got a few, but most of them stayed in Japan. It doesn't rust in Japan. Okay. Not like here, you know, we have winter and then everything gets rusted.
Yeah, I was going to say, and why this particular GTR? Was there a reason, anything that you liked about it, or like why this car?
You know, for my generation, we grew up with honestly PlayStation, right? PlayStation 2 is when I was first exposed to this at a motel in New Zealand about 10-15 years ago. And then so since that day, you know, Need for Speed, Fast and Furious, honestly that just stuck with me. And then when time came, I was like, hey, you know what, there's a good one, so let's do it.
So you flew to Japan and bought a car?
Yeah.
Yeah, you make it sound a lot simpler
basically,
than it
yeah,
is.
it's better than buying off the internet, you know. But
100%.
This particular example is not low mileage. It's got 136,000 kilometers on it now. I've actually drove this from San Francisco through Texas back up to Canada. So that's about 15,000 in the last month.
Yeah, and if people look at your Instagram, it's a little bit similar to mine now. It looks like you've been doing Drive the World in this car instead.
Yeah.
But talk me through, you said you added on some goodies. So like, show me around the car, what's standard, what have you added?
Yeah, so the entire front end is Z-Tune. So this is a carbon fiber Z-Tune hood. I've painted the top blue because I don't like bare carbon. The bumper, the fenders are all from Z-Tune. This is actually inspired from the race car, the R34 GT500 race car. So air goes in the front, comes out here, some channel through here, and out here the side. These side
sills,
call them,
sills, there we go.
Were not there before.
Okay.
That wasn't there before. That wasn't there before either. And of course the LMGT4 wheels by Nissan. So I think these wheels were originally made for the Z-Tune, and then eventually Rays were like, oh, you know what, we'll make 50 sets a year, and then to sell it to people, right?
Wow, okay.
So there's that with like some Brembo GTS brakes, because I thought, you know what, I'm not going to trust a 20-year-old brake set on the car.
And how did you find all the parts? If you bought the car in Japan and they didn't sell it here, like how did you go about shopping parts?
Yeah, so my contact in Japan were like, you know what, I can order parts for you. So I thought, okay, let's do that, right? And then for the brakes, I sourced it with my workshop here, Eurocharge. They're cool, they're really great guys. And they actually paint matches perfectly because the Bayside Blue is a 4-layer 3 or 4 layer paint, which involves silver somewhere in there, and blue, and I believe 2 layers of clear coat to give it like the super intense 3D gloss kind of effect. For the US, they have 25-year import rule. So the first legal R34 that goes into the US would be 2024.
Okay.
For a blue one. You can get midnight purple ones in because those are limited. You can get those in under show and display, but you can't really drive them. Whereas in Canada, you have 15 years to import. So we could have gotten this in if my math is correct, 2014.
Yeah, I'm not good at math, so you could say any number and I would go, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, 2014. So there are a few running around, but I like mine the best.
Yeah, I have to say, yours does look amazing, and it's running the display plate at the moment.
You know what? You gotta keep the originality,
There we go, that's Elliot, but it does have an Ontario plate on the back, right?
Yeah. So for my cars, I do run front plates because I don't want to get stopped unexpectedly, but like...
You're running a Japanese front plate. So.
Japanese front plate. It's a plate anyway. But,
it's a plate. Well, look, I mean, not everything here is yours.
No,
a beautiful collection, but some of those down there are, and there's another GTR, or there's the R33.
Yes.
So talk me through that quickly.
Let's go to that one. So this is a R33 from Nissan, but slightly modified by Autech. It's like BMW and LP now, right? So in total, they made 416 of these, if I'm right. So it is a sedan or saloon in Europe. And it does have the GTR engine and drivetrain and the braking system from the 33.
So was it? So it was because obviously they didn't do a sedan GTR, right?
No,
So-
they did for the first generation, the boxy-looking Hakosuka. They did.
Okay.
But everything after that were 2-door. The hood latch is a little funky, so you have to pull on it for me.
Okay, so where am I from here?
Yeah, just pull on it for a second. Okay, there we go.
There we go. Is there another secondary latch? I'm just holding
Yeah,
it.
this is a 1998 model, so I believe this R33 were from 95 to 98, and this would be the last one. You know, it's a 1-year production. There's the RB26, the GTR engine. The previous owner painted the cam silver. It's supposed to be a little charcoal-ish.
Okay.
But
And which came
honestly,
first, this or the R34? For you?
You know what? We bought this at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we went to
Okay.
Japan and then saw, let's get both. And then we'll decide.
As I said, you got the 2 other beauties there, and actually, you've taken it upon yourself today to educate me on all things JDM. So we're going to be cruising. You're bringing one of those, I understand
will be
it.
bringing the yellow one.
Here we are then, hallowed ground. I'm not sure there's a car that sort of speaks to my generation, at least, more from the JDM market than the R34 Skyline. It does look amazing, but this, as I mentioned, is my first ever experience in any kind of GTR. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive. My expectations are quite high, and maybe they shouldn't be, because let's not forget this car a little bit older now, so it's not going to be mind-boggling speed, but that's the whole thing. It's not always about speed, it's about experience and character, and this thing definitely has character because it has the original Japanese radio in it. Anyway, everyone else is getting ready. As mentioned, Jason's coming along in the GT2 RS. We've got Vicky driving my Carrera T. There's an M3 with us. Anyway, it's all going on, and we are headed to a JDM meet. So I sort of mentioned that Jason had taken it upon himself to educate me. He's organised an actual JDM meetup with a whole load of cars so I can learn more, because whilst this is super iconic, it's not the only ever amazing JDM car built, so I'm going to go and learn some more. Right, I think we're ready. Let's do this. Well, we've joined the highway and pretty much straight away got into some traffic. So let me take this time to kind of give you a bit more history or backstory, or at least my own backstory with this car, because I keep mentioning the fact that it's kind of iconic or heralded as one of the greats. And for me, there are 2 main reasons for that. Jason already touched on one of them, Gran Turismo, and this car first featured in Gran Turismo 2 back in 1999, and it has then featured in every single Gran Turismo game since. And for those of you that might not know Gran Turismo, who are you and why are you watching this video? But it was, or maybe it still is, probably the greatest driving simulator on the PlayStation. Would people agree with that? I'm not really a gamer anymore, but definitely back in the late 90s, early noughties, Gran Turismo was as close that people like me could get to a real driving experience from our living room. It was always the best graphics, the best cars, the best sort of, driving sensation through a controller. And this was the sort of poster car from those early games. On top of that, this was Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker's chosen car in Too Fast, Too Furious, the sort of follow-up to the first Fast and Furious film, which again was kind of like the dream movie for car people back in the late 90s, early noughties. So there were like two huge popular cultural references to make this car insanely desirable. However, for me personally, all my sort of lusting for cars came from really Formula One and my older friends who were at the time buying and discussing German and Italian cars. It was kind of like Volkswagen Golfs or late BMWs, or sorry, old BMWs and old Mercedes. And so that's kind of what I was like, oh, that's what I want to get when I grow up. So the JDM stuff, the Japanese manufactured stuff, kind of went over my head a little bit. But for a ton of people, this was the best way to get into a sort of relatively quick, reliable car. And let's not forget, JDM cars are some of the most tunable out there, and the traffic's cleared up a bit, so let's drop a gear and see if we can start to exploit some of this, because we have got a 2.6 litre turbocharged inline 6-cylinder engine, which I think was officially putting out like 280 horsepower, but some people have put these on dynos and got like 300, 330, and I love it. It's so Japanese. I've got this screen with so much information on it. This is 1999 this car was coming out, and it's just got so much tech in it. But yes, there are very few of this kind of car, JDM cars, that aren't kind of molested, heavily tuned, heavily modified. And of course, Jason has put his own touch on this thing, but he's tried to keep it sort of relatively stock. And I quite like that, because I'm getting a relatively pure and authentic experience. So anyway, yes, here we go. Let's drop down some gears. We're going to back up a bit, because I'm assuming this car is all about the boost. So let's see if we can experience it. Here we go. Wait for it. 7,000. Okay, now we're shifting. Now we're shifting. Whoa! Okay, that is not slow. That is not. I just overtook a GT2 RS, so yeah, the curve is actually incredibly smooth. I assumed that because of the age of this car, when that sort of boost kicked in, it was going to feel a bit like a big old chunk. You were just going to suddenly go, ah! But no, instead it all comes on pretty progressively, and this still feels quick. This is not a slow car, my God. Apart from a bit of a fail at the end there with a turbo timer that I wasn't aware of, so I kind of like stalled upon arrival at the car meet, so that was, what an experience. Kind of actually off GoPro, the best moment was the kind of two corners as we got off the highway, because as I mentioned, epic to experience this car in any situation, but it was crying out for a corner at some point. I was just like, I need it. And then following Jason in that 2RS, I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to stay up with him, but I'll give it my best shot. And yeah, this thing is just cool. It's just cool, and it just transports you to another era and another time. But we are here, and there are a ton of other cars lurking around, most of which I do recognise, I think, in part, but we're going to pull Jason back in to kind of be our tour guide. There's lots of owners here who can talk us through things as well. Let's talk around and see what's at today's meet. Like, on a purely visual aesthetics point of view, this is this like almost the second coolest car here.
Yeah, this is the car.
It's very authentic.
Yeah, it's super authentic. Yeah. Looks the part. I mean, firstly, it's got writing on the side, which has got a win, and like it's another one of those like almost poster JDM cars, right?
It was made to be, the initial D-Tofu delivery car, right? As close as we could.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful inside.
It's got lots of space to put your. I don't know what you put in it.
In the engine bay.
Put whatever in it.
Put whatever you need to put in the engine bay. All the horsepower.
All the horses. You're having to put some food in there.
Yeah.
So this is a build. So this wasn't an original car. This has been built up.
I think this was built very, very as authentically as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
But an import as
Like
well, or we just found the
modernized.
base car and then found all the parts to chuck it in. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it definitely took a very long time to source everything. I think
Yeah.
it was as authentic as possible. I think even these fog lights were hard to find.
I think these are all OEM because I know the previous owner that had this car.
Okay.
And then he was posting every little screw, every little cigarette
Wow, he did
holder.
as much as he could. And
Yeah.
what year would because the A86, right? So what?
What year is that?
That's like-
95? Question mark? I don't know.
No,
We don't know.
I don't
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want
but-
to say the year if I don't know. So.
No, fair enough. So how long have you had this?
11 months.
Oh wow, okay.
I had one before, which is right here actually.
Oh, that's your previous car?
Old one,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, nice. And how come the change?
That one's NA.
Okay.
And to make it turbo, it's a lot of money.
Sure.
So just get a
You
turbo.
want to find a turbo. And horsepower and stuff, have you put this on dynos and things? Or you
It's
just-
hard because it's auto.
okay.
It was built auto, blew up, so now it's stock auto for now, and then winter will do something.
Okay.
It's, I'd say 800-ish, determined from like trap speed and what the
You said
dyno
that
can
so
roughly
casually. It was like, I thought you were going to be like, it's like 160. Wow. Okay, so what have you put on there? Or what did you, when it was stock?
So
what did you-
the top end is fully built, precision 6466. Weak point is the ECU, it's AMV1, which is really, really shit. Like it's almost as old as me.
Sure.
So
Old as gold. Yeah.
not with the AMs. no.
Okay, fine. And for you, why Supras? Out of the whole,
I've
like,
always loved them, man.
That's
Like,
your
it's
go-to.
Like as I grew up, I always wanted one, and then finally got one.
This is the S2000 CR, which is, I believe, don't quote me on this, is the S-Type for the American market.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a retractable roof. So it's either no roof or you gotta put on this roof. You gotta install it.
fixed
Yeah,
roof you
it's
put on
fixed.
top, and then the wing as well. You would have got stock.
The wing is fixed. It's got the double bubble like the Speedster.
Sure.
For the summer when you have it off. So this guy actually came from Niagara Falls. It's a 2-hour
Oh
drive
wow!
away.
Okay, nuts.
Yeah.
It looks super nice. I'm a fan of the color.
I love blue. Like, you see everything is blue.
Yeah. What an awesome morning. For me, a sort of eye-opening morning. We're going to wave goodbye to everyone now, awkwardly, as we drive out. But yeah, absolutely incredible to finally experience that car. I say finally, I never really thought that I would, but just such an amazing thing. And the biggest takeaway I have about the whole JDM scene is the fact that it's all about personalization, modification and personalization. Whilst it does still happen, I think, with BMWs, Mercedes, all that kind of scene, there's just something more about it, I feel like, with these kind of cars. So look, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I realize a lot of you will be like, oh my God, Sam, you're teaching us to suck eggs. We know more about this than you. I freely admit you probably do, but for me, it's not a part of the car world that I often indulge in. So I'm super glad I did, and thank you once again to Jason for the opportunity. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.